Guys, it finally happened. We saw the PlayStation 5. Roll the thing. Alright guys, yesterday Sony finally showed us the PlayStation 5, and that was one hell of a show. It was gameplay trailer after gameplay trailer. Now, I got a lot to say, and I figured I'm just going to focus on the things that I really liked rather than touching on everything, because there was quite a few game trailers. Some of them were just meh, but there was a few that stood out, and those are the ones that I'm going to be talking about today. Now, just before we jump on into it, yesterday after posting some reaction videos, I think I jumped up something like 20 subscribers in one night, so I just wanted to take a brief moment to be like, thank you for, going and checking out that video. I think it has over like 7,000 views now, and sticking around for more content. I really appreciate it. Everything you guys do to help support me means the world to me, so thanks so much. But we're not going to linger on that for too long. I want to give you guys some actual content, so let's start talking about the PS5. Alright, so let's talk about the box itself. Now, last night after jumping on Reddit, I see that everybody in the world's already making fun of it. They say the Xbox Series X looks like a mini fridge, this one looks like a Wi-Fi router, and the Switch is a toaster, apparently. But overall, I actually don't hate this design. I find it's kind of weird when you get the disc tray in there. Like, it almost looks like it's got a weird bulge on the side that the digital version doesn't have. But if I'm buying a PS5, I'm definitely getting the one with the disc tray. As you guys know, I'm a huge collector. I mean, just look behind me. So I'm not going to stop buying physical games, so I'm going to have that strange, weird bulge on the side. But overall, I am not hating the look of the PS5. A part of me feels like it looks a little cheap, almost like it's really plasticky. Well, I mean, they're all plasticky, but it's also got this charm that kind of reminds me a bit of, Portal 2 or even just the PlayStation VR setup. So, I don't know, I'm kind of digging it, and I just hope that when we actually get the console in, it'll be nice and sturdy, but most things nowadays break the second you touch it. Now, of course, Sony didn't give us a price, so we don't know how much it costs, we don't know when it's coming out, but hey, it looks decently pretty, which I guess is something. But yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of excited for it, so it'd be nice to get a release date sometime soon. We know it's coming out later this year, but I'm getting a little antsy not knowing, because I want to go put a pre-order on it. I want to make sure I've got mine day one. And I'm kind of curious, what do you guys think are actually going to be some of the launch titles for this thing? Because a lot of the games we saw said either just coming later this year or coming in 2021. Some of them were remasters, some of them were remakes, and we're going to touch on all that in just a second. But yeah, I just don't know what they're actually going to have for their legitimate launch lineup. So we'll see. Alright, so with the console out of the way, let's start talking about the video games. Now, the first thing to show up was something rather misleading. That Rockstar logo hit us nice and bold, dead center of the screen, and it was Grand Theft Auto 5? I mean, I thought it was legitimately a joke that they were putting GTA 5 on the PS5. I mean, we didn't even see any footage of it on the PS5. Instead, they just showed us, like, B-roll of GTA on PS4, which is really weird. I mean, nice of Rockstar to give us $1 million a month, every month until the PS5 comes out. I mean, that's something for people that still play GTA Online, but, I don't know, I'm just ready for something new. When is GTA 6? When is Bully 2? I would kill for a Bully 2. I loved that game. Then another game that caught my eye was Stray, which is like a cyberpunk game. I believe you play as the cat. I don't know, though. They didn't really show us any legitimate gameplay, at least not from what I could tell. It seemed all really CG and just, like, highly tech demo-ish, but I remember about like 7 years ago seeing some kind of GIF online for this exact same project, so I was wondering when it would actually see the light of day. It looks really cool, I'm really interested in it, and I think one of the cool things about a lot of PlayStation IPs is a lot of them are really original. I always used to say that, like, back in the day, it felt like, with like the Xbox 360 and stuff like that, you were just getting a lot of shooters. It was like Halo, Gears of War, all that kind of stuff, and with PlayStation it was always weird stuff, you'd get like Katamari Damacy, Shadow of the Colossus, all those kinds of things that are just very different experiences. And I feel like Stray, while it's probably not a PS5 exclusive, does at least look like another one of these genuinely unique experiences, and I'm really excited for that one. Then from Arcane Studios, we have Deathloop, which is a really interesting premise. Now, originally, I didn't know how the storyline was going to flow for this, but I love the idea of a repeated loop. Give me something like Outer Wilds or something like that, where you're always kind of learning a little bit more every time you play, and you can kind of use that to be able to get a bunch of stuff done in a small amount of time. I mean, one of my favorite games of all time is Majora's Mask. So I love the whole time loop idea. One thing I don't know if I'm sold on is the idea of the other player always hunting you down. This reminds me a lot of Dark Souls' invasion system. And I have to say, I'm not a fan of invasions. Like, last night alone, I was playing Dark Souls 3, working on my Platinum Trophy, and we were in the Undead Settlement right at the start of the game, and we got invaded at least 6 times. Like, that is ridiculous. It's just crazy, and sometimes it can really hamper progress, especially when you are, like, level 10, and they're, like, level 100, and they've got all their different abilities. But anyway, I'm going to go on a rant about Dark Souls 3 now, and that's not why we're here. Instead, I just wanted to say that Deathloop looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of Dishonored, but it has a lot of its own flair in there, a little bit of Bioshock with its tones and things like that, so it's definitely something to look forward to. I really hope it becomes a memorable experience in the future. Now, this one I'm not going to touch on very long, but they also showed some Ratchet & Clank. The one thing I wanted to make note of is just that warping between realities really does a good showcase to show what the PS5 can do when it comes to loading times. Like, you're in one area, you're in another, there's only like a brief second in between, and it looks crazy. The whole warping of realities to even just jump distances is nuts. If you guys have not checked out the trailer for Ratchet & Clank, go check it out, because it's really showing what the PS5 can do. Then one game we only got a small glimpse of would be Hitman 3, but I am a huge fan of the Hitman games. The last 2 were so much fun, tons of replayability, one of those perfect games for streaming. I think Hitman 3 is going to be more of the same, which is definitely a good thing. We all need a little bit of Hitman in our lives. Unless it's, you know, a legit Hitman, that'd be worrisome. But as far as the games go, these are some of my favorite, and I'm really glad there's another one coming. They said it's the last one, but, you know, we'll see. Then there was Ghostwire, something that I legitimately thought was going down a horror path originally, but now it looks like a more Suda51 style action game, which is fine. I think one of the most disappointing things about gaming is when you have an expectation for something and then it turns out to be something completely different. My original expectation for Ghostwire was a horror experience in the same vein as like The Evil Within. But from what I saw, it definitely looks much more action-packed. Sure, there's horror elements in there, but it doesn't feel like a legitimate horror game. Instead, it feels like something that's more of like a first-person action adventure with some horror elements thrown in. Now, going into Ghostwire, if that is my mindset, then it looks like a very, very enjoyable game. Now, I saved the best 2 for last. First off, Village, Resident Evil 8. So, it looks campy, it looks interesting, it looks realistic, it looks insane. Now, I heard originally this was just supposed to be a spin-off of Resident Evil, maybe just a spin-off of 7 specifically, and they decided to make it a mainline entry halfway through development, which is fine. The game itself actually looks really interesting. The graphics are absolutely gorgeous. I just can't believe the rumors of werewolves are real. But in the world of Resident Evil, it kind of makes sense. All these different viruses can cause all kinds of different mutations. It's just coincidental that it was in a village. Well, I have no actual opinion on the game itself, clearly, because I haven't played it. It looks really interesting, it looks really beautiful, and I'm just glad to get more of that Resident Evil 7 style. One of the things I said in my prediction video was that I hope Resident Evil 8 maintain that first-person camera angle, and it looks like it's going to. As far as we can tell, Ethan is one of the main playable characters, but I've heard rumors of 2 more playable characters, with supposedly Chris Redfield as the villain. And if the trailer is anything to go by, well, that much is true. It's also really weird that they redesigned Chris. Like, they went and they changed the design in 7, and now they changed it back in 8. So, this is all really confusing. But nonetheless, I'm really excited for it. Resident Evil 8, PS5, you gotta believe I will be buying that day 1, and I'll be doing speedruns of it just like I did with Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3. All of that stuff on my Twitch down below. Then, last but not least, the video that blew up the most on my channel, getting over 7,000 views, was my reaction to Demon's Souls remake. Now, I heard rumor about this a long time ago that Bluepoint was working on some kind of Souls game, and I almost didn't even believe it. I felt like From Software, it's got this touch that they add to their games that a different developer might not be able to encapsulate. But, if anybody is going to, it's Bluepoint. Now, these are the guys that made that Shadow of the Colossus remake, which was incredible, and the content they added was even more interesting, and it's really cool to see what they can do with old properties. If Bluepoint is dedicated to recreating old games from the ground up, this is the company I want doing it. Now, this won't be the same thing as Medieval or Crash and all that stuff. Even though Crash was a really good game, Medieval had its flaws and all that stuff, I just know that Bluepoint's going to carry through and create an amazing Souls game. Now, some people were saying that it even had the DLC. Now, I'm not sure. I did not go through Demon's Souls the whole way. I only got about halfway in when I was playing it back when they shut down the servers. But I have gone through all the other Souls games, Bloodborne, Sekiro, all that stuff. I'm a huge fan of these games, and I'm really excited to get my hand on Demon's Souls on PS5. Alright guys, well that sums it up. Let me know what you guys thought about the console or any of these games down below. Also, make sure to make note of any of the games that I didn't mention that you're really excited for. I think it's really, really cool that there's all these different opinions and all these different genres and stuff coming to the system. I know I didn't mention the sequel to Horizon, but when Horizon first came out, I was playing Breath of the Wild, so I was busy doing that. I haven't gotten around to playing Horizon yet, but I keep hearing it's amazing, so yeah, that's something more to look forward to. So thank you guys so much for watching. Everybody who just recently subscribed, again, thank you so much for your support, and I will see you guys all in the next video. If you want some more content, but you're looking for something a little bit more gameplay related, make sure to check out the Console Crashers Play channel. Again, links down in the description. I'm doing the Let's Play of Mystical Ninja right now, and I'm having a blast. I just started it, but I got a feeling it's going to get really good really soon. Alright, bye-bye.